All right, I'm here to tell you that the best move the Raiders made this offseason is the one they didn't make. And I'm going to explain that in full. But before I get into that, if you are new to this channel, hey, we've spent a lot of times covering the Texans, the Browns, and a bunch of other NFL teams. And we are a couple guys who have multiple channels. You can see us in different markets. It all started with Sports Talk Detroit, and then it went Sports Talk Chargers. We've got guys that are doing the Chiefs and the Bears and the Packers and a whole bunch of teams. I think we're up to 8 or 9 different markets now. But this channel is because we love the NFL and we just want to talk about moves that we see, bring a kind of upbeat, positive spin to it. So if you are a Raiders fan, make sure you hit that subscribe button if I can hold your attention for more than a few minutes. But let's talk about the move the Raiders didn't make. And I need to kind of put out a polarizing name for all of you, and that is Josh Jacobs. When you see what Josh Jacobs made and by going to the Packers, right? To the Packers. When you see all of that kind of stuff, the question I want to ask you at the beginning of this is, do you wish you signed Josh Jacobs? Just as a quick reminder, he signed a 4-year, $48 million contract with the Packers. All right? A $12.5 million signing bonus, $12.5 guaranteed. So of that, the guaranteed, I mean, it's not super high, but here's what you're looking at with the cap hits and all the dead caps and stuff like that. Basically, it's a 2-year contract for we're well north of $20 million, and then you can get out of it, but you're going to end up paying a large amount of money the way they structured it. Do you want Josh Jacobs back at that price? Let's go ahead and let's just take a listen on Greenlight with Chris Long. Let's just take 30, 15, 45 seconds and hear what he had to say about why he didn't come back to play with the Raiders. Let's take a listen to this.
Was it hard for you in that 4 or 5 year period, the beginning of your career, to say, like, am I ever going to get out? You know, like, was that stressful?
No, definitely. Like, and that went in part into, like, me leaving, too. You know, like, and I told him, I'm like, man, coming from Alabama, like, I went to the championship every year I was there. Like, you feel me? Like, every year.
Yeah.
Like, I remember coming to the league and losing my first game, and I was mad, not talking to nobody, and a vet come up to me and, like, it's the NFL.
You
like,
do lose
you
more in the
lose.
NFL.
I'm like, so y'all cool with losing? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was so different. You know what I'm saying? For me, it was so different. So, like, that was one thing. Like, and then the most frustrating thing about it all, I feel like, especially when you got, like, me, you know, Tay and Max, and you got guys that come in every day and work hard, and you don't get the results. And
Work
then
hard
it gets
without
to the point where,
results.
like, okay,
Fair.
I'm working hard, and I'm doing every little detail, every little step, and I'm still not getting the results. So, like, I didn't have the answers. That was a big thing for me too, man. I'm like, man, y'all want me to come back on a discount and lose? Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
So we have a few different things on that. And one of the ones that just hits me really big is you all want me to come back on a discount and lose. And I have the question of, what is a discount? And I think when I look at Jacobs over his history, his first 2 seasons were pretty good. He ran for 1,150 yards in his first year, 4.8 yards per carry. The next year, it was volume, all right, 3.9 yards per carry, all right, which isn't great. It's not terrible. I thought the offensive line was better than warranting 3.9 yards per carry, then 4 yards per carry, and then last year in what was a de facto, or 2 years ago in what was a de facto, screw you guys, right, to the Raiders organization, he averaged 4.9 yards per carry, had his best year of his career with 1,600 yards. And then last year fell right back down, having what is by far the worst year of his career. And I understand there's a lot of other examples to it, but he averaged 3.5 yards. All right, he had 233 carries for 805 yards. He turned that into 3.5 yards. That is 2.35 yards after contact. That's it. I just want to be clear on a couple of things here. By comparison, the running back that they kept, Zamir White, all right, from Georgia, another guy who was in a winning program in college, he had 104 carries, so about half the carries, 451 yards, over half the yards. He averaged 4.3 yards per carry. That's almost a whole yard more per carry. And by the way, Josh Jacobs, 2.35 yards after contact, just in case you want to say it's just the line not blocking well. Zamir White had 3.21 yards per contact. So that is actually, he made up more. So you could make the argument that the line actually blocked better for Josh Jacobs than it did Zamir White. And Zamir White still ended up having a 0.8 yards more per carry average. So I am here to tell you, and I know this is the first Raiders video we've done on this channel, that I think the Raiders' best move was not bringing back Josh Jacobs, especially at that money. It allowed them to put more money into their defense, which is their identity. And then they still didn't fall into the trap of we need to draft a running back. They attacked it in a different way. They said, all right, we're not going to go after a quarterback right away. We're not going to fall into the trap of just taking a quarterback who doesn't have an offense that's ready to surround him with talent. So they said, let's just build the talent level of the offense. They go Brock Bowers with the 13th overall pick. I can't sneeze at that. I can't say that's a horrible decision in any way, shape, or form. And then they do a pick that's going to help the running game more than keeping Jacobs. They draft Jackson Powers Johnson. This, to me, is the most complete interior offensive lineman in this draft. And he fell to 44. It's so funny. Will he start? This is what the ESPN thing was. Only if 6'3", 238-pound Powers Johnson beats out Whitehair at right guard. Are you kidding me? If he beats out Whitehair at right guard, yeah, he's going to beat out Whitehair at right guard. Like, what are we talking about here? All right, Cody Whitehair went to the Chicago Bears. He was drafted by the Bears in the second round, and I believe. And he had a phenomenal rookie season. Everybody talked about what a ridiculous athlete this guy has been, and he has gotten worse every single year of his career, and last year was just atrocious for you guys. Now, Jackson Powers Johnson, I think, could be a better player right now than all three of your interior offensive linemen, and that is going to greatly, and I mean greatly, help your offensive line. And then you backed it up in the third round and went and got Delmar Glaze, offensive tackle out of Maryland. All right, another guy that might end up playing on the inside, but you just don't know. All right, they value versatility on the offensive line, all right, which is all but set on the left side and at center. Glaze has a long wingspan and nearly 7 feet, but is not known for being overly physical. To me, that projects out as a tackle. So they're helping their offensive line. They're keeping Zamir White to see what he can do. The running back class next year is much better if you want to draft a running back. Next year's the year to do it. It wasn't this year. And at least projected to be better. We don't know just for sure yet. And when you look at all that, you want to do all that before you're just jumping in to bed with a new quarterback. You need to put that quarterback in position to succeed. So I think the best move they made was not spending the money on Josh Jacobs for a guy that was not producing at the level of that money. He had twice in his 5-year career. Okay, but I need to see a guy who can consistently produce in order to do that. And I think based on that interview that you heard of Josh Jacobs, the reason he had 2 elite seasons and he didn't have the 3 seasons that weren't elite is up here. It's not skill. It's not talent. Some of it was injuries, but mostly right up here. All right, hope you like this stuff. Hey, we just love talking football. So if you like football and you want to hear daily videos on all things football, hit that like button, give us a subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.